Good evening, dear viewers. I'm Yusuf Jamal Ibrahim.
And I'm Reem Al-Yusuf.
Welcoming you to our special media coverage today that is coming to you from KTV2 studios. This year we are celebrating the 125th anniversary of the Anglo-Kuwaiti Agreement for the year of 1899, launching official diplomatic relations between the state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Believing in the importance of celebrating this landmark, our government and the government of the United Kingdom have jointly agreed to declare 2024 the year of the Kuwaiti-British partnership as per the agreement signed on the 29th of August for the year of 2023 in the margins of the visit of His Highness the Emir, Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jabr Al-Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, to the United Kingdom.
Our enduring relationship spanning over a century has thrived through unwavering support and shared values. The year of the Kuwaiti-British partnership celebrates our achievements, from historical investments to joint efforts during the liberation of Kuwait from the brutal Iraqi invasion. We're committed to strengthening ties through high-level visits, cultural exchanges, and education initiatives. Key areas include trade, defense, cybersecurity, education, culture, and international development. The upcoming electronic travel authorization will boost people-to-people connections. Together, we'll address global challenges and opportunities while reinforcing our friendship and cooperation for the next 125 years.
The historical charter is renewed between the State of Kuwait and the United Kingdom to mark 125 years of long-standing partnership. Governed by a spirit of close friendship, the solid ties underline the two countries' commitment to jointly achieve a wide range of shared goals and priorities. The sector of English news and programs presents you a special program to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the deep-rooted relations between the great partners.
In 1899, Kuwaiti and British diplomatic political leaders had signed the Anglo-Kuwaiti Agreement, launching official diplomatic relations between the two countries. Considering the importance of celebrating this landmark, our respective governments have jointly agreed to declare the year of 2024 the year of the Kuwaiti-British partnership, as per the agreement signed on the 29th of August of 2023. More in the following report.
Earlier this year, on January, celebrations and commemorations occurred on the 125th years since the establishment of the 1899 Anglo-Kuwaiti Agreement, a procreate agreement launching decades of diplomatic relations, cooperation, and strategic partnership. In honor of the momentous event, the two governments dubbed 2024 the year of Kuwaiti-British partnership.
So thinking back to the start of the year in January, we had the former British Deputy Prime Minister who came to Kuwait to launch our celebrations in the Embassy Gardens. So we had a large, fabulous event with lots of footage looking back at the historical relationship, which was really interesting. There were some photographs I'd never seen before, so that was a great event. And then in February, we held our very first Defence Alumni Networking event. So we invited Kuwaiti graduates from different military institutions and colleges so that they could get to know each other, we could get to know them better, and we could all share stories and reflect on experiences.
The long-standing and profound connection between the two nations has progressively strengthened over the past 125 years, with mutual support for each other in addressing both regional and global issues and in upholding and advancing shared principles. The year of the British-Kuwaiti partnership offers a chance to look back on the accomplishments of the last 125 years, including a significant investment relationship, highlighted by the Kuwait Investment Office 70 years presence in London, and joint efforts to protect Kuwait's sovereignty during the 1990 invasion. Our prospective governments are continuing to uphold their aim to advance ongoing and future collaborations through high-level visits, events, and initiatives, such as cultural exchanges and educational programs.
In March, we then had the Kadipa Investment Roadshow, where lots of members of Kadipa and also people involved in Q8 investments in the UK travelled to London. We had a series of presentations and lectures and different workshops on different aspects of our investment relationship. And since then, we've had lots of other events, some big, some small. Just recently, we had a visit from 2 British artists who were working alongside the Amiri Diwan and also NCCAL on some murals and art installations.
Both governments are dedicated to expanding and enriching our cross-continental friendship, ensuring the unique bond between our peoples continues to thrive for an additional and glorious next 125 years. Key areas of focus for Kuwait-British cooperation includes trade and investment, defense, cybersecurity, and education and culture. The Kuwaiti-British foreign ministers will uphold cooperation standards and meet for strategic dialogue, while other senior visits will support this cooperation. Furthermore, both countries are enthusiastic for the soon-to-be-launched electronic travel authorization, replacing its visa waiver predecessor and making travel to the UK for Kuwaiti citizens more accessible than ever. Another field the 2 partners are looking forward to amplifying cooperation on is cybersecurity and defense, with the UK's assistance in establishing National Cybersecurity Center in Kuwait. Kuwait's high political figures always spoke of pride in the steadfast relations between the 2 nations, underlining their intent on bolstering these ties. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Mish'al Ahmed Al Jaber Sabah, may Allah protect and bless him, last visit to the UK brings forth upcoming events to take place this year that pridefully highlights the strength and uniqueness of the decades-old friendship. This year is a thrilling opportunity to reflect on the past 125 years and to look forward to stimulating future cooperation.
The historical charter is renewed between the State of Kuwait and the United Kingdom to mark 125 years of long-standing partnership. Governed by a spirit of close friendship, the solid ties underline the 2 countries' commitment to jointly achieve a wide range of shared goals and priorities. The sector of English news and programs presents you a special program to celebrate the 125th anniversary of the deep-rooted relations between the great partners.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to today's exciting segment. Today we are welcoming with us the distinguished guest, Mr. عيسى دشتي, B.E.M, a clinical dietitian and researcher on Kuwaiti-British relations, for more discussions on the 125th anniversary of official diplomatic relations between the State of Kuwait and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Thank you for joining us today here, Mr. عيسى.
You're most welcome.
Mr. عيسى, before we dig into more questions, we'd like to know more about you and your work.
I am a clinical dietitian, as you told, and it's my specialize and my graduate. I'm graduate from Kuwait from Health Science College as a dietitian. I'm still work as a clinical dietitian, but my interest in the Kuwaiti-British relation, it's come from my hobby side. So I'm a stamp collector, and I am the secretary of Kuwait Philatelic and Numismatic Society. My special collection, it's I collect the British stamps that used in Kuwait in the British Empire period and in the British post office period. My deep research in this part, it's taking me to search in the relation between the 2 countries. So I start to really start my start of researching in this relations. It starts since 2010. And from that day to this day, I'm still searching and do some activities and other events to showing the many different parts of the relation between Kuwait and United Kingdom.
So, Mr. عيسى, let's talk about your hobby before your job. Your hobby, did it start before the year of 2010 or after?
Yes. I think I remember I started to collect stamps from 1989, and exactly after the Kuwait invasion and liberation, I start more officially in this time, because in that time there is no the internet and the WhatsApp and other things. Still, the people they are used the post office. So my brother, he was studying in US, and after that he studied in UK. So when we want to contact with him, we are sending letters. Every week when I go to the post office, I see different stamps, and from that time, every time when I see different stamps, different photo design, and I like to collect that. So I ask my parents every week to have more money to buy stamps. And that time my parents, they say, we are sent the letter, the register letter, and 350 fills. Why you take one dinar? I said to buy extra stamps for myself. And from that day, my dad, he's taking me to the philatelic department in the post office. And after that, in 2005, the Kuwait Philatelic and Numismatic Society is stapled, and I be a member, and now I am board member in the society. So now, I become the more professional of stamp collector. I have my stamp collection of Kuwait in all period, the British Empire period, the British period, and the Kuwait national period. And of course I have many different stamp collection of especially UK, because I like these stamps, especially in the...
We're going to get that to that topic.
Yes, in the Queen Elizabeth, especially some the stamps that with the Queen Elizabeth photos stamps, I collect that. And this hobby, I like it from my young, and I do my research, because when we are members in the Kuwait Philatelic Numismatic Society, there is a champions in Asian champions and international champions. That's all the countries participate in these champions in the and all these exhibition and champions is under the UPU, the Universal Postal Union. And if you want to show your stamps and your collection, you should do a stamp study or a stamp exhibit to show the history of your stamps. And from that day, when I do my research, the first research I do it about the coronation stamp of Queen Elizabeth II that's used in Kuwait in 1953. I remember an article, and our boss of the society, he told this is a very nice information. First time we are read this information in Arabic, continuous your research and publish as a book. And from that time I start to do my research in different parts of the relation between Kuwait and UK. And my interest start with the stamp collector.
So by having this hobby, the love and passion and thrive have led you to many different places.
Yes.
We want to know more about the honor when you were honored by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II by giving you the British Empire Medal for your service to the British Kuwaiti relations. We want to know how significant that is to عيسى.
Well, it's an historical day. I will never forget it. And that's honoring. It's not just for عيسى or his family. It's for Kuwait.
Correct.
And for all the Kuwaitis. I start from 2010, like I told you, to do an event. I start to do an event, a public event.
But just to clarify, before 2010, since the 80s, you've been collecting, learning, and teaching yourself.
Yes.
And it took you many years to reach that place.
Yes. And from 2010 to this time, yearly I do an public exhibitions for the public about different parts of the relation. I publish around 31 book about Kuwait and British relation. My books it's published by the National Council of Art
on a yearly
Literature.
Basis they are published.
Yes, some years
since 2010.
Since 2010, and I do many and like interviews, articles, events, exhibition, lectures. I give it for the public, and I documents many important station of the relation between Kuwait and British. Nobody has written about this events or this periods in our relation. I wrote it,
which are very historic and important periods. that should be archived here in our country?
Yes, because I love reading. When I start to read about the relation, there is a very few numbers of books and source about the Kuwait and British relation. Just a few books about the politic relation or the agreement relation, but there is nobody who's written about the diplomatic relation, the social, the culture, the royal visits. I start to write in this field. I remember my first book, I published it in 2012, and from that day to this day I published many books. And all these works, it's in one way it's known by Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II, and in 2021 I got the letter from Her Majesty. She want to honoring me the British Empire Medal for all my last 15-16 years about I served the relation in my all this job and work I do it. And you know, because that time it's the period the corona time, and there is some many structures and other things, so the medal it's sent to Kuwait, and it's honoring me in behalf of Her Majesty by Her Excellency the British Ambassador to Kuwait, Mrs. Belinda Lewis. I remember exactly the day, it was in 23 May in 2022.
Mr. Isa, let's go back 125 years back to 1899.
Yep.
What were the key factors to achieve this significant relationship?
See, our relation with the United Kingdom and Great Britain, it's not starting suddenly from 1899, but our real start, our relation, it's more oldest than this year. We are starting from 1775.
So it goes way back before 1899. So it goes back more than 125 years ago.
Yes, yeah, next year we are celebrating 250 years
okay.
of our relation from 1775. And our first agreement between Kuwait and United Kingdom, it's signed in 1821. But the most popular and the most famous agreement between Kuwait and United Kingdom, it's signed in 1899 in the period of the 7th ruler of Kuwait, Sheikh Mubarak the Great. So because this agreement, it's most famous, it's most important to adjust our relation between Kuwait and United Kingdom, and like it's giving us the agreement, the headlines, and like the map for our relation, the future map, how we are cooperate together in different points, in different fields. So for that we are celebrating today in 125 years of the 1899 from the day that Sheikh Mubarak signed the Anglo-Kuwait agreement between Kuwait and Her Majesty Queen Victoria government in India.
Mr. Isa, we're going to move to a quick phone call and get back to more questions with you. And now we will move to my colleague Reem here in the studio as we take a phone call with Ambassador Stuart Lang, former British ambassador to the state of Kuwait, and before that the Sultanate of Oman, and former Master Corpus Christi College, Cambridge.
The state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom are old friends.
Thank you, Yusuf. Good evening, Ambassador Stuart Lang. Thank you for joining us in our celebration.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
And now, Ambassador, looking back on the last 125 years of Kuwaiti-British relations, what do you consider to be the most significant milestones that have shaped the enduring partnership between our two countries?
Thank you. The question, well, the previous speaker just pointed out how the agreement between Britain and Kuwait in 1899 set the foundations for the friendship and the partnership that has existed ever since over these 125 years. And we hope, God willing, into the distant future. And there have been other landmarks, of course. The 1899 agreement, we should emphasize, it does establish a colonial or imperial relationship. This was a protectorate in which the British took responsibility for Kuwait's defence and external affairs. But internal affairs were, of course, all in the hands of the ruling emir and the apparatus, the arrangements, the administration the emir would set up. And this changed in 1961, so this was a big turning point when people used to talk when I was ambassador as being a year of independence. But as I say, you use the word independence and talking of a colonial or imperial relationship. What happened in 1961 was Kuwait took full responsibility for defence and foreign affairs, but it very nearly came unstuck because a number of people, the Iraqis in particular, posed a particular threat to Kuwait's independence at that time. And the Arab League stepped forward, as did the British, to ensure that Kuwait had true independence in its defence and foreign affairs from that time on. And I only need to say that another absolutely crucial point in the relationship came in 1990 and 1991 after the 1990 illegal occupation of Kuwait by Iraqi forces and the gathering of an international coalition to liberate Kuwait and return Kuwait to where it should always be as an independent state active in the affairs of the world. The coalition, as we know, was successful, and in 1991, Kuwait, as I say, resumed its case. So those are the crucial turning points that I would pick out if asked. Well, you did ask me. That's the answer that I think I should give.
Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador Lang. That was Ambassador Stuart Lang, former British ambassador to the state of Kuwait, and before that, the Sultanate of Oman and former Master Corpus, Christie College, Cambridge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, earlier we sat down with the current British ambassador to the state of Kuwait, Her Excellency Belinda Lewis, to hear about how the United Kingdom and Kuwait will be celebrating this momentous occasion. Stay tuned.
Oh, we've got so many plans. So thinking back to the start of the year in January, we had the former British Deputy Prime Minister who came to Kuwait to launch our celebrations in the Embassy Gardens. So we had a large, fabulous event with lots of footage looking back at the historical relationship, which was really interesting. There were some photographs I'd never seen before. So that was a great event. And then in February, we held our very first Defence Alumni Networking event. So we invited Kuwaiti graduates from different military institutions and colleges so that they could get to know each other, we could get to know them better, and we could all share stories and reflect on experiences. In March, we then had the Kadipa Investment Roadshow, where lots of members of Kadipa and also people involved in Kuwaiti investments in the UK travelled to London. We had a series of presentations and lectures and different workshops on different aspects of our investment relationship. And since then, we've had lots of other events, some big, some small. Just recently, we had a visit from 2 British artists who were working alongside the Amiri Diwan and also NCCAL on some murals and art installations. So we're very interested to see how those designs turn out. There's also been a lot of activity down at Kuwait's National Library. So we had a wonderful exhibition of 125 photographs, specially selected to be able to highlight different important milestones in our relationship. Some of it has been to do with conflict, a lot of it has been to do with specific steps forward in our bilateral relationship. But again, it was like going back in time, looking at some of these images that people haven't seen for a long time or perhaps have never been publicly displayed. We also had a tree planting in the garden of the National Library to create a sort of very serene 125 themed garden where people could sit quietly and reflect on relationships relationships with the UK, or just read maybe a book about the UK or anything that they would like to do. So we've had a very busy start to the year, and then looking forward to the rest of the time that we've got throughout this special year of 2024. Coming up in just a few weeks' time, there's a Q8 in the UK Cultural Week, which the Kuwaiti Embassy in London has been very busy working on, and there'll be a fabulous music concert at one of our preeminent theatres in the West End of London, and also a series of exhibitions and different displays of heritage crafts, looking at some of the older traditions that Q8 has. And that, I think there'll be opportunities for people to learn things like the approach to Sadu weaving. So as well as looking at things, I think it'll be quite interactive as well. And then there's also a UK and Q8 week coming up, again with lots of musical events. So we've got so much to do for my team to work on, and lots of different things for people to enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we go back to my colleague, Yusuf Ibrahim.
The historical charter is renewed between the state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom to mark 125 years of long-standing partnership. Governed by a spirit of close friendship, the solid ties underline the two countries' commitment to jointly achieve a wide range of shared goals and priorities. The sector of English news and programs presents you a special program. To celebrate the 125th anniversary of the deep-rooted relations between the great partners.
From Kuwait Television Studios, the Ministry of Information, we'd also like to welcome back our distinguished guest, Mr. عيسى دشتي. Mr. عيسى دشتي, thank you for being with us again, and thank you for all the insightful information that you have been feeding us here today. We are thriving for more questions, but before we dig deeper, we'd like to know more about the past 8 months. How hard or how difficult was it, or interesting or fun experience? If you could tell us more about it.
It's a really fun experience, and also a busy year, especially this year. But because I used to do this events and this activity through the last 15, 16 years, so it's a little bit, it's come easier for me, especially when I have my own collection, my private collection and my private archive. So it's be a very easy to use and to do it and different exhibition, and especially exhibition, each exhibition or lecture about one topic about the Kuwait and British relation. يعني أول شيء thanks God, from my first exhibition 2012 to this year I didn't repeat any exhibition. Each year, each exhibition, it's a new topic for every year. From this year, because I have my calendar for the celebrating calendar for all the dates what we will celebrate it between Kuwait and United Kingdom. So from last year in 2023, I start for this year, I put for myself the calendar, the events calendar and the exhibitions, the lecture that I would like to give it in 2024 for the 125 partnership between Kuwait and United Kingdom. So I start my first event in February, especially in the national days. My exhibition, it's about to showing some of the interest photos and original documents and books about the British, the Royal Air Force British and the British military and the British soldiers that's come here to support Kuwait and to help Kuwait and to prevent Kuwait from the problem that happened between we are telling the border problem in 1961. So we are showing how the great job that done by the British Army when they are coming here to Kuwait to support us and to prevent Kuwait in the summer, in July and August and in September and 1st of October, they are sit in the desert in the north board just to protect Kuwait and support the Kuwait army. I showing more than 35 rarest photo that showing most of them for the first time. I do this exhibition in the National Library of Kuwait, and after that I made an exhibition in the first anniversary of the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III, and I do an exhibition for his visiting Kuwait in 1993. This is the important visit for King Charles when he was a Prince of Wales. And why this visit is important? It's important because it's the first royal visit after Kuwait liberation in 1991 for His Majesty King Charles. And also in this visit, the late Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Jabir al-Ahmad al-Jabir al-Sabah, he honoring the King Charles with Sheikh Mubarak, the great order. And this has happened in the first time in Kuwait history, because you know this order or this medal it's giving just for the kings and the president. And in that time Sheikh Jabir, he's giving for the first crown prince this order. And I give many of lectures and other exhibition for the King Charles birthday. And I give it at the huge and the main exhibition that I giving last month. It's the name Kuwait and British Relation in Photo. I display 125 photo that's showing the 125 years, starting from the Anglo-Kuwaiti agreement in 1999 to the last event it's done between Kuwait and United Kingdom in 2024. And I give a suggestion for the National Council of Art and Literature and Kuwait National Library to plant a partnership tree, and we are plant this memorial tree in the garden of the National Library garden. It's planted by Her Excellency Sheikh Hala Badr Mohammed Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah, and Her Excellency the British Ambassador Belinda Lewis, and the General Manager of the National Library of Kuwait, Mrs. Siham Saad al-Azmi. From February to this day, I do 7 events. Different 7 events, lectures, exhibitions, events, and inshallah tomorrow I have to opening my the 8th exhibition or 8 events in this year in the Kuwait National Library.
For the year of 2024?
For the year of 125. Yep.
Oh, so you are planning for the 2025 exhibition?
Yep.
Is it possible to get a quick glimpse of what should we expect?
Yep. Inshallah tomorrow my exhibition is opening in Kuwait National Library in 12:30 o'clock noon. It's about the commercial cooperation between Kuwait and Britain. It's showing the exhibition, it's in 2 parts. The first part, it's an original materials of letters, invites, documents, and the bulletins and magazines that issue from the Trade Council in the British Embassy in 1961, especially in the first year of the British Embassy in Kuwait. How the Trade Department and the Commercial Department, it's invite the Kuwaiti, the businessmen, to come and invest in the United Kingdom and to see the British agency to opening here in Kuwait. Very interesting, and I found many interesting documents and bulletin and letters that sent between the businessmen from Kuwait to the Trade and Commercial Department in the British Embassy, and from the other side that's how the 2 countries support each other in different fields.
And the letters will be shown in the exhibition.
Yes, it will show in the
both
exhibition.
Communications from both sides.
Exactly. And the other part of the exhibition, I made a photographer exhibition that show the many important stations about the trade and commercial events happen in Kuwait, like the late of the Emir's meeting, Sheikh Abdullah Salim, Sabah Salim, Jabir al-Ahmad, with the businessmen from United Kingdom when they are come and visit here in Kuwait. The events, the trade and commercial events that done by State of Kuwait and United Kingdom, and the signed agreement between the 2 countries in 60s and in 70s. And also I show some rare photos for the lecture that's given by King Charles in Kuwait in the Central Bank of Kuwait in 1993.
Oh, wow.
And this lecture is given by King Charles when he was Prince of Wales, about the trade and the commercial, or how you invest in Kuwait. And there is a more 5 rare photo for the other lecture. It's also given by King Charles, but he's giving in the Royal Yacht Britannia when he was in Kuwait in Mina Sheikh Port, about how we are invest and how we should cooperate and invest and the trade and the commercial, and how we are support the youth in the different countries. This photo all will show tomorrow in my exhibition, and it's showing for the first time, and some photos for the British Week in Kuwait in different periods and for the last years.
Speaking of communication back and forth, there's a question. Is it true that our relationship with Great Britain began through mail?
Yes. In 1775.
1775.
Yes, it's before 249 years exactly.
So our
yes.
our relationship began way before 125 years ago.
Yes. The mail line it's changed. It's that the mail line is come from the Gulf before it's going to the Basra and Zubair and the rest of world. But in 1775 the mail line it's come from the Gulf, it's come to Kuwait, and from Kuwait by the camels in the desert to Halab, and from Halab to rest of world. This is the year that's written by the reports by the British politic agents in the Gulf. That's the real start year between our relation. So our relation it starts through the mail service.
Originally back in 1775
by the mail service and the commercial and trade service.
Mr. Cissé, we're going to get back to my colleague Reem and get back to more questions with you.
The historical charter is renewed between the state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom to mark 125 years of long-standing partnership. Governed by a spirit of close friendship, the solid ties underline the two countries' commitment to jointly achieve a wide range of shared goals and priorities. The sector of English news and programs presents you a special program. To celebrate the 125th anniversary of the deep-rooted relations between the great partners.
Kuwait Library, which completes the missing piece in the collection of books of libraries found in one of the most important educational cities in the world, Oxford. The Kuwait Library is one of the main buildings of the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, which the state of Kuwait contributed to building generously over 2 decades, containing more than 55,000 Islamic books and manuscripts in various languages. Here's more in this report.
In the middle of this architectural masterpiece that combines Islamic art and traditional Islamic architecture, as well as the art and architectural traditions found here in the city of Oxford, one of the most important educational areas in the world. And here, Kuwait Library, which completes the missing piece in the collection of books of libraries found in the most important educational cities in the world. The Kuwait Library, which is one of the main buildings of the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies, which the state of Kuwait contributed to building generously over 2 decades, contains more than 55,000 Islamic books and manuscripts in various languages.
Well, let me start with the center first. We have been very fortunate to have the direct involvement of the leadership and people in Kuwait with the work of the center. Successive emirs have been very generous in their support of the center, which we are very proud of. We have a program at the center which is named as the Kuwait program, which allowed us to establish a teaching post in Islamic studies, and that person teaches in the Faculty of Theology of Oxford University. The first such appointment in 800-year history of this university was made possible by the generosity of Kuwait. And as part of the Kuwait program, we also have this Kuwait Library, which is the first reference library in that sense for Islamic studies in the broadest sense of the word. It has books in history, in politics, in economics, and of course in classical Islamic sciences. Oxford, as you know, is home to some of the most famous libraries. And the Bodleian Library, which is the big university library, has millions of books. This library is connected to the catalogue of the Bodleian Library. We have about 50,000 books, and of those 50,000, there are about between 25 to 30,000 which are available only in this library, not even in the Bodleian Library.
The two-story library is a model not only in providing educational and academic services through books and manuscripts classified scientifically on the 2 floors, each of which contains some artistic and Islamic masterpieces.
The need for a better understanding of the Islamic world is greater today than it has ever been, because of all the tragedies that we see around us. It is very important that there should be a better understanding. And that understanding can be stable only if it is based on genuine tolerance and respect. That comes through academic work, that comes through good scholarship. And what the center provides is an opportunity not just for people from any one region of the world, or indeed from this country only. Oxford is an international city. When people come here, they might be from any part of the world, but they learn, they make friendships, they learn new things, and that contributes to a better fellow understanding and a fellowship, a better understanding between people and a genuine fellowship.
It is the Kuwait Library that makes you feel as if you are in a museum of Islamic history and architecture. The stairs leading to the upper floor of the library are made of wood decorated with Islamic drawings, where the clear connection between the pulpits of mosques and the pulpits and fountains of knowledge is topped by a plaque in Arabic calligraphy on which is written, and above every knowledgeable person is the all-knowing. So the researcher finds himself in front of a huge amount of one of the most important books and sources of knowledge on Islamic studies and the history of Islam in many languages.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Dr. Yusuf Al-Mtairi, Professor of Public Administration at Kuwait University. Dr. Yusuf, how did the Kuwaiti-British relationship evolve after Kuwait gained independence in 1961?
Since Kuwait independence in 1961, this has led to build a diplomatic and political relationship between Kuwait and England, which has led to more opportunities to strengthen also the economic and commercial relation between the two countries. And we find, that we are opening a lot of areas that help to strengthen this relationship. Like in 1955, the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Abdullah Salim Al-Sabah, at that time has opened the Office of Investment for Kuwait in England, at that time. And this is, shows how is biggest relationship that we invest our money in England, and we know it is going to be safe and helpful. And this has also led more to, investment agreements between Kuwait and England, and also to lead a big relationship, especially in the commercial side and the investment in Kuwait, and also investment by different companies from England and Kuwait working a lot. We know that there are different companies have been working in Kuwait since 1936, and the petroleum discovery in Kuwait, and they're still working until 1975 in Kuwait. So we're talking about 40 years of working for these companies in Kuwait, we're talking about the petroleum investigations, and also the production of oil at this time. Also, we know that British has been participating in the Gulf War, and it is one of the biggest countries that in the international unity, and it was really one of the key factors and one key country which has helped to liberate Kuwait from the Iraqi invasion in 1990.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Yusuf. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Yusuf Lamtairi, Professor of Public Administration at Kuwait University. And now, back to my colleague Yusuf Ibrahim.
The historical charter is renewed between the state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom to mark 125 years of long-standing partnership. Governed by a spirit of close friendship, the solid ties underline the two countries' commitment to jointly achieve a wide range of shared goals and priorities. The sector of English news and programs presents you a special program. To celebrate the 125th anniversary of the deep-rooted relations between the great partners.
Thank you, Reem, and we're back again here with Mr. عيسى Deshti. Mr. عيسى, before we get back to my colleague Reem again, there is a question that's been going through my mind for a while. So now we know why many Kuwaiti citizens visit Great Britain. It's whether for their lovely atmosphere, weather, food, shopping as well. I want to go all the way back. Who was the first Kuwaiti to ever visit Great Britain and why?
Oh, this is a nice question. The first Kuwaiti who is visiting London in 1919 he was Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah in behalf of his uncle, the ruler of Kuwait, Sheikh Salim ibn Mubarak al-Sabah. And he visiting London, and he was the first Kuwaiti visit London in 1919 to congratulate the King George V about the victory in the First War. He was in the Arab mission. The Arab mission, it was two parts, the Kuwait mission and Najd mission. In Kuwait mission, Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir and his colleagues on the apartment partnered with him. He visiting London, he visiting many places in London. For sure, he's look like any Kuwaiti. He's visiting too much Selfridge for shopping. And he visiting Buckingham Palace and he's met King George V and his wife, the Queen, and the Princess Royal. And he's present a lovely gift from his uncle, the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Salim ibn Mubarak al-Sabah. It was a gold digger. It's made in Kuwait, and the sword, it's related to Sheikh Mubarak the Great. It's giving to the King George V for the victory for the United Kingdom in the First War. And also Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir, he's present a gift. It's an Arabic horse. Wow. And this horse, it was one of the special, really special Arabic horse. And he told the King George, I send my horse to the royal stable. It's a gift for you in this great victory in the First World War. And he said, are the horse have a name? He say no. He say, so the Sheikh, he's given me a gift. The horse, the name of the horse is Sheikh. And Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir, he visiting the cinemas, the theater, the magic show. He visiting London Zoo. He visits Greenwich, and he go to Edinburgh and Edinburgh Port. And from the Edinburgh Port by the sea, he coming back to Kuwait. He spent many more than 1 month in this historical visit. Really, this visit, it's affect to Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir to looking for the different part of the world, and he see the roads, the undergrounds, the cars, the developments of this country, the building. I think this visiting, it's affect for Sheikh Ahmed al-Jabir vision, and it's giving for him an open mind to development his small country when he be a ruler. So for that, he visiting London again in 1935, and these two important visits, it's really give a very strong push and support for our relation. Correct. So from 1919 to this time, the Kuwaiti side and the British side is still they are remember this historical visits. And in this year, I did an exhibition about the visit of Sheikh Ahmed Al-Jaber. I was showing some of his photo from his trip and journey from Kuwait.
All the way back from 1990.
From the sea. You can imagine he is traveling through the sea from Kuwait to Bahrain to Oman and from India. And from India he's changed the ship and he's go through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal and to the London for all this long trip. And it's giving us a support and strength for our relation to this time.
Well, thank you for your generosity with your time and giving us all of this unforgettable information. And so the first visit to London was in 1919 by Sheikh Ahmed Al-Jaber. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Yes.
And now we will go back to my colleague Reem for a phone call with Mr. Jassim Qabazard.
The state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom are old friends.
Thank you, Yusuf, and our dear viewers. We're now joined by Mr. Jassim Qabazard, engineering business consultant. Mr. Qabazard, what was the significance of the Anglo-Kuwaiti Agreement of 1899 and how it shaped the trajectory of the two nations' relationship?
The commissioner, the British commissioner at the time, made a very serious agreement, and it was very significant that it set Kuwait to move into the future with a high degree of security independence of its internal affairs, leaving the external affairs in the hand of British protectorate to maintain the stability and security of its people and its borders. So it was quite a significant event. It made Kuwait feel free to do its own business, and Kuwaitis being a very progressive, adventurous, and a calculating businessman with the trade, working with Iraq, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf region, the western coasts of India, and the eastern coasts of Africa. So that's how the Kuwaiti merchants felt secured, protected, and in the sea even, their ships were protected by the British fleet. So it gave rise to the development of the country, and later on, when oil was found and explored, Kuwait had better chance to build itself up with the vision of the late leaders and emirs of Kuwait to become a gem, a pearl of the Arabian Gulf.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Qabazard. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jassim Qabazard, engineering business consultant. And now we go back to my colleague, Yusuf.
The state of Kuwait and the United Kingdom are old friends.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Before we get off here, we have a couple more minutes to extract another question from Mr. عيسى. Mr. عيسى, before we get off here, let's go all the way back to the first stamp postage,
yes,
and the picture on it.
Yeah, as you know, the post office officially opened in Kuwait in 21 January in 1950, and it was running by the British, Indian British administration, post administration. And in 1923, the first post stamp, its issue, overprinted with the Kuwait, Kuwait, with the photo of King George V. And this is the first postage stamps that we are used in Kuwait, and we are in the British Indian period. We are used the King George the sixth stamps in the British Empire period, and after Indian independence from United Kingdom, we are used the British stamps that's carrying King George VI photo, and after that Queen Elizabeth II photo, all that's overprinted Kuwait. And I am so lucky. Last year I designed the 100-year anniversary for issuing the first stamp of Kuwait, and it was issued by the Kuwait Post Office last year, and I designed this stamp, and this stamp was used in the philatelic department and the different post offices, and we are remark our celebration last year for the 100th anniversary of the first stamp carrying name Kuwait and the photo of the monarchy of the United Kingdom.
Mr. عيسى, I want to say that today we are lucky to have you here with us, and thank you again for your generous time and sharing all that insightful information with us here today on our show.
You are most welcome.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of my team here at Kuwait Television Channel 2, I would like to thank you for joining us and watching us. In the meantime, have a good night.